What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. I'm actually filming this later than usual, and the reason that is because the Octopath Traveler demo came out, and I've been kind of glued to the TV because of it. Now, if you don't know, there was a demo, of course, a while ago for the Octopath Traveler, and it seemed to be about like a beta, trying to gather feedback and then trying to fix that game. Well, the new demo now is essentially the beginning of the game. So you're allowed to pick any of the different characters that you go through the game with, and they give you 3 hours to play through it. And it's awesome. I've been playing as the thief, and I've kind of been walking around stealing things from people and battling, and it's just been an awesome time. I'm so ready for this game to come out next month, and I'm gonna be on it. And what's really cool is, if you do spend time playing through this, it's technically not time wasted, as your progress, your save game, will actually transfer to Octopath Traveler, the full version that you end up buying, and you'll get all of your save data moved over, and that's awesome. So basically, this lets you get a 3-hour jump start on the game before it even comes out. This is great. I'm so happy with kind of the way they've taken the progression of this game leading up with development and asking fans feedback, because the game has changed actually quite significantly since that beta program that they played. So I would go check it out. It's free to download, and it'll let you know if this is a game that you're interested in, because you get 3 whole hours to play for free. And again, if you like it, it transfers over. Pretty awesome. We also found out that the Super Mario Party game that is coming out on the Nintendo Switch later on this year in October will actually have online play. And this was something I was concerned about, because I didn't know if Nintendo would actually try to get this game online in any way. Now, the thing about this is, it's not technically being pushed over completely. Like, it's not the full Mario Party Classic board game. The reason I think that is because it could be kind of hard to get strangers to sit down, especially if you do random matchmaking, and play a full game. I know, like Monopoly and stuff, you can have trouble with that when you play that online, but this one, it would be hard because, of course, sometimes in Mario Party it becomes pretty obvious who's going to win, and some people might just quit out, and then it just messes up the whole thing, unless they can maybe have a bot replace it. Anyway, the way this is going to work is they kind of had it set up specifically for the online play, basically its own mode where you play 5 games to compete for the best score. You can play online with friends or strangers. There are leaderboards, ranking systems, rewards, all of that. So while they haven't tried to push the full experience online, probably again because fear of just bad experiences online, you will be able to do something with rewards, leaderboards, full matchmaking, and that is great. Also, if you missed my video yesterday, Sony did technically respond to the Fortnite issues, and it was kind of a non-answer. They essentially just made sure everyone knew that they have 80 million people online playing, and this was in response to the BBC, because CNBC, BBC, all these other mainstream sites have actually picked this up, and even they recognize it as being anti-consumer and have done nothing but try to grill Sony, and they will respond to the bigger sites, but a spokesperson didn't really even give them an answer. It was pretty bad. It was essentially answering with a non-answer. That was the way they did it, and it's they don't seem to have any interest in fixing it, and I'm not surprised. Like, again, if you want to check it out, the video yesterday should hopefully explain my thoughts and feelings about this whole situation with the Fortnite Epic lockdown on the PlayStation 4. But with that out of the way, guys, let's get into some of the bigger news. So Panic Button is a company that Switch owners have gotten to know pretty well over the past year or so, right? They have done some pretty big stuff. They've ported over Rocket League. They've ported over the unthinkable Doom and Wolfenstein 2, which is due out this summer. And now it sounds like they're kind of teeing up a new project, one that it sounds like they've been working on for a little while now, and they're actually going to be announcing it next month. This comes from Variety.com, where they talked to the developers of Panic Button, and this is what they had to say. We've been working on the hardware for a long time, almost 6 years. That sounds like a typo, to be honest, or just misinterpretation. The Switch has not been around for 6 years, so I'm going to kind of gloss over that as them saying, we've been working with the Switch for quite a while. That's more than almost any third party. During that time, Panic Button released original work, but also were the team in charge of bringing Rocket League, Doom, and soon Wolfenstein 2 to Nintendo's hybrid console. He said the company is working on another major port expected to be announced next month. Now, this isn't surprising that it's going to be announced after Wolfenstein 2 comes out, right? Because they want as much attention on that port as they can. And if there really is like a blockbuster port being announced, then it could pull some attention away from Wolfenstein 2. So I understand why they're not announcing it at something like E3, because the timing just doesn't line up for them. Now, the big question is, what are they porting? Well, That's anyone's guess right now, to be honest. And based on Panic Button's track record, by seemingly having a pretty good relationship with Bethesda, I could see them doing another one of those games. A lot of people are talking about things like GTA 5, but I don't know. I mean, it could be, but thinking at Bethesda library, they could pull a Fallout. I think a lot of people would get really excited if a Fallout game, if Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 Anniversary or something like that did show up. That'd be pretty exciting, right? I mean, Bethesda, if you look at their library, they have a lot of games, right? They even have smaller ones like Prey and Dishonored. Prey would be pretty cool. Honestly, if Prey came over the Switch, I would probably get it on the Switch just because I liked Prey on the PS4. But Prey did not take off even a little bit, and I think they could use the extra sales from that. Now, could it also be a game that's in development currently? Yes, no. See, Panic Button generally works on games that aren't out, or that, have released already because they're a porting company. But if a game is far enough along in development, and they kind of work alongside them to help port it to the Switch, yeah, you could see that. Something like, I see people talk about the new Doom that's being talked about. That game isn't coming out this year, I don't think, so that would be something that would probably be held off for another day. I could see them maybe talking about the Spyro trilogy, the one that's coming out later on, the Spyro collection, right? I could see that. That's something that they could announce. We've already seen Nintendo accidentally put it on their website. That's something I could see maybe getting farmed out to them, as Toys for Bob could be kind of having their hands full right now, and you just say, hey, Panic Button, port this to the Switch, let's get this done. But, you guys, you're going to have to let me know what you think Panic Button is working on. It sounds like it's not a smaller game. You don't use Panic Button for smaller games with what they've proven themselves to be able to do with Doom and Wolfenstein. I think it's going to be a bigger Western game. My money right now, to be honest, is on Fallout. I could see Fallout getting ported by Panic Button. I think that would surprise and impress a lot of people, just because to have something as big as Fallout on a handheld after the disappointment of Fallout Shelter being announced, which is a game that I've played on a cell phone, a year and a half ago. That would be really cool to see the full Fallout game come over. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments and which game Panic Button could be bringing over. Next up, let's talk about Nier Automata, because, well, for one, I don't even know how you actually say the last name. I would say Automata, but it could be, I guess, Automata. I don't know. I always read it in my head, and I never actually say it out loud. Maybe it's just me. But anyway, Nier, which has done really well, by the way, over 3 million sold. It's going to the Xbox One now, which the X was probably going to be one of the more definitive console experiences, obviously, compared to the weaker PS4 Pro. But I'm going to be curious if they are shooting for maybe 5 million copies sold. That would be massive for them and Platinum Games and everything. And it sounds like at E3 there was a bit of a discussion about a Switch port. If you have not seen this, a lot of people have been asking for a Switch version over time on Twitter and everything. Well, the producer and director of Nier Automata stopped and talked to some people at E3. And, well, they said this. Well, Tara's Twitter account is shown on the screen here, and if everyone asks him for it, then there may be a possibility that it would become a reality. But even if it does, it might be about 2 years from now again. See, we keep our jobs alive by releasing a little by little. Now, in the interview, it seemed like that 2-year statement was kind of them joking, as they're like, we like to spread it out and drip feed and everything. They're kind of making a joke as to what they've done in the past. So I don't know if it'd take 2 years to get that game over to the Switch. I don't even know if they have plans to move to the Switch. But the more I think about Nier, the more I think about how it does fit on the Switch, and they have to see the audience on the Switch. And honestly, people from the PS4, the Xbox, and whatnot who have already played it might look at the Switch and be like, oh, that'd be cool to kind of have it on the go, because I really like revisiting that game occasionally, and then maybe I travel a lot, I can take it with me. That, I think, is why so many developers keep looking at the Switch to bring games over that maybe have already released, because they can see Second Life literally on the Nintendo Switch. So there you go. Apparently they say if you blow up their Twitter, you can apparently get Nier on the Switch. Cool place for it to fit, I think. And I'd be curious how many people, or how the performance would be, I should say, on the Switch. I don't think it would blow up or anything like 3 million units or anything, but I think the Switch, coupled with the Xbox, coupled with a couple sales here and there throughout the next year or two, I think Nier could touch 5 million units sold, and that would be a pretty big deal, honestly, for that game and Platinum Games. It'd be pretty cool. Next up, let's talk about a game that, of course, has sold well. It's a great game. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. And honestly, I'm looking forward to part 2 that's coming up someday in the future. We'll say that, although the demo they showed looked pretty good. That, of course, is The Last of Us. Now, The Last of Us came out a while ago, I believe it was 2013 on the PS3, and then it was ported to the PS4 as the remastered version, a version that runs much better and I think even looks better, obviously with the more powerful PS4. It was also included in several bundles for the PS4. I believe even the PS3 had some Last of Us bundles, if I'm not mistaken. But that game has now crossed 17 million copies sold. That is very impressive for that game by Naughty Dog and Sony. Big accomplishment. 17 million is a lot. I mean, seriously, think about that. 17 million copies on a game that is brutally violent and obviously geared towards a mature audience. That is pretty big, and it makes me really look at Last of Us 2 and wonder what kind of sales that is going to look like. I mean, could that top something like God of War that has done nothing but explode in sales? Maybe, honestly. I mean, you look at Last of Us and Naughty Dog, and you do obviously take that and you think of the PlayStation brand, much like when you think of God of War, you think of the PlayStation brand. So yeah, I can see that there's been a lot of hype, there's been a lot of drip feeding of information, and I think that's going to help The Last of Us Part 2. But man, what an accomplishment for The Last of Us. Of course, again, it's been bundled, it's been on the PS3, it's been on the PS4, but still, nonetheless, 17 million copies, it's nothing to sneeze at. Now, our last bit of news, let's talk about Rocksteady, because if you were with me on any of the streams I did for the Xbox or the PlayStation, two places I expected Rocksteady to show up, and they didn't, I was pretty disappointed, right? I was thinking we would see a cool Superman game, or maybe a Justice League game, or maybe something completely different that would blow my mind, because I actually like Rocksteady's development in the past. I like the Arkham series a lot, and while the Batman VR game really didn't click with me, their past stuff really has. So naturally, I was pretty excited to see what the next project was, and I figured it would stay in the DC universe with Superman. Well, the conference has passed, and we didn't see anything. I even mentioned it. Where's Rocksteady? What's going on? What happened to Rocksteady? Well, it seems like they have been kind of feeling the questions hit them over and over again, because they decided to take to Twitter and talk a bit about where they are, or really just in general, why they weren't at E3, I guess. And this is what they said. Hi all, I wanted to share a quick message from me and the Rocksteady team. We know some of you were disappointed that we were not at E3 this year. This whole team has been reading your comments, and all of us here at Rocksteady really appreciate your passion for our next project. Knowing how much it means to you keeps us inspired and energized to deliver a game that you'll be proud of. We'll share it with you as soon as it's ready. And that's from Sefton Hill, who is the game director and co-founder at Rocksteady Games, and they really didn't tell us much. They did tell us that they understand that we were disappointed and we're wondering what happened to them, and it just sounds like their game just isn't ready. Whether it's the production isn't ready, the trailer's not ready, it's not at all ready for a 2018 release, and maybe it's 2019, but we haven't seen them for quite a bit. Like I said, the last game that I remember them doing was the Batman VR game, and I think that was 2016, so even before that, it's been quite a while. Was it Arkham Knight? Yeah, that didn't even go so well when that came out. So now we can only sit and wonder what it is they're developing. But at least they recognize that a lot of us wanted them at E3. And hey, maybe this will make them work a little faster, a little harder at this game to get it out. Because I have a feeling they really want to tell us what they're working on, right? It has to be very difficult to be in your game studio. And maybe you do have a blockbuster in hands. Maybe it really is a Superman. And they can't talk about it to anyone other than who's inside those studio walls. And that really must be tough, I have to say, to not just walk outside and be like, hey, we're developing a Superman game, and then just walk right back inside for telling somebody. So I'm sure they really want to tell us, and I hope it's not them waiting till next E3 to tell us. I kind of hope maybe they get something with Game Informer, or they just come out and tell us at some point, right? I don't know. We'll see, but I guess we'll just keep following Rocksteady until they're ready to tell us about their next Superman game, or whatever they're working on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys. It really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is Panic Button's new game, or their new port, I should say. Not really new game, new port. What do you think it is? Because that is the massive speculation, and it sounds like we're going to find out next month, probably around the time, or even somewhere around Wolfenstein 2's release, more than likely, just because they want to at least keep the hype going on that, maybe even a little before, but we'll see. They definitely want to push that out and get great sales on it, because apparently ZeniMax and everything was very, very happy. Bethesda, very happy with the sales from the Switch version of Doom, and probably Skyrim as well, although they seem to comment on Doom. So we'll see. I'm hoping it's something big, because that could be really cool to see. Also, what about Last of Us passing 17 million? Sounds like a lot, right? Yeah, it'd be pretty big. And would you be buying Nier again if it decided to show up on the Switch, and what do you think Rocksteady's working on? My money is on Superman or just something from the DC universe. Honestly, it could be anyone from there, but Superman needs a good game, and I think Rocksteady could pull it off. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.